Today is Thursday, September 26. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The National Works Agency is reporting that heavy rainfall that has been impacting the island over the last 3 days continues to impact the main road network. Flooding and landslides continue to impact corridors in Clarendon, St. Catherine and St. Andrew. Road users are being urged to exercise extreme caution when using all corridors that are being impacted by the heavy rainfall. The NWA advises caution as the surrounding embankments can collapse and drain features fail based on the intensity of the rainfall. National Water Commission NWC President Mark Barnett wants Jamaicans to practice daily water conservation. He says the concept of water conservation is normally taken more seriously during the dry period, but it should be an everyday conversation and practice. Barnett noted that studies show that water use in an average household can be reduced by 30% by simply practicing conservation methods. He said avoiding high flush toilets, which use more than 1.8 gallons of water to flush, is one way. He also said that rainwater harvesting should also be a part of the conversation. Come October 1, Jamaicans will be paying more for building fees, and there will be requirements for developers and contractors. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, plans to charge $135 per square meter for residential buildings, which covers 4 inspections. The KSAMC also plans to charge $180 per square meter for all other user types, and it also covers 4 inspections. That's the word from Deputy Building Surveyor at the KSAMC, Jeremy Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence said the 2019-2020 base fee of $135 per square meter covers both single and multifamily residences, and the base fee for $180 per square meter covers commercial, institutional, resort, and industrial buildings. Additional inspections of any building category will cost $5,000 each. The standardization process is slated to last 3 years and will see municipal corporations tailoring their fees similarly to those of the KSAMC. Additionally, starting October 1, a planning report will be mandatory for all commercial, institutional, and resort developments over 500 square meters and subdivisions of 10 lots and more. For more information, persons can contact the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation's Planning Department at 876-967-4195 or 876-922-4320. Keith Duncan, Group Executive Officer of the JMMB Group, was on Wednesday elected the 20th president of the PSOJ at a council meeting held at the PSOJ offices in Hope Road. Duncan succeeds Howard Mitchell, who demitted the position after serving for 2 terms, 2017 to 2019. Joining Duncan are Vice Presidents Jackie Sharp and Jeffrey Hall, as well as Miriam Robinson and Treasurer Vikram Diman. Duncan, who has served as Vice President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, shared that he is looking forward to this new role as he believes that Jamaica is at a critical juncture in its economic history. Voluntarism is very much alive. That was the sentiment of the British High Commissioner Asif Ahmad. He gave the keynote address at last week's United Way of Jamaica's annual Nation Builders and Employee Awards at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Mr. Ahmad said cynicism and skepticism can sometimes warp public perception about volunteers and charities, but this, he said, is far from the truth.
You know, there are cynical people who say that the big donors support organizations like this for that photo opportunity. I hear them say that instead of reaching in for their checkbooks, they should roll up their sleeves and help the needy directly themselves. Well, firstly, many of you do just that. You do far more than just give money. And as volunteers, you're using your own talents and you make your own very direct, hands-on contribution. So that's Another reason why I wanted to celebrate with you, to celebrate volunteers, to salute you, all 350 here in Jamaica. Because you are the answer to those people who say we now live in a materialist, self-centered world.
The High Commissioner also had a message for the donors. He lauded the United Way of Jamaica, UWJ, for its professionalism and its integrity.
By choosing to direct your funds as donors to United Way, you know that what you're doing is you're dealing with people, professionals who know what they're doing, and they have chosen as a career to work for a charitable organization. This is not amateurs doing something out of just their goodwill.
UWJ Board Chairman Dr. Marcia Forbes reiterated the main drivers behind the charity.
The primary focus of this limited liability, fully autonomous, volunteer-driven organization, the United Way of Jamaica, is to provide funding support for projects that will enhance the development of communities in Jamaica and better the lives of the people who live or work in those communities.
UWJ was established in 1985 to fulfill the need for a sustained system for mobilizing resources for private voluntary sector. The United Way of Jamaica is an autonomous, non-profit, private voluntary organization registered as a charitable organization under Section 2 and Section 17 of the Charities Act, and an affiliate of the United Way worldwide. Stakeholders in the Americas are being urged to come together to tackle antimicrobial resistance in humans and animals, AMR. AMR occurs when microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites change and become resistant to the antibiotics used to treat infections they cause. The charge comes from Director of Veterinary Public Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Lynette Peters. The World Health Organization has said that AMR is one of the most complex global public health threats, and no single government or organization can tackle it alone. Dr. Peters is therefore imploring stakeholders to take a multi-sectoral approach to address the issue. She was speaking at the opening ceremony of the 25th Seminar on Harmonization of Registration and Control of Veterinary Medicines at the Royalton White Sands Hotel in Trelawney on Monday. The government will be working to improve regulations regarding domestic animal control. The regulatory loophole that has been exposed through a recent incident in which a St. Richard's primary school teacher was mauled by pit bulls last week, Thursday. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie says while Section 51 of the Local Governance Act 2016 gives a municipal corporation or city municipality the power to make regulations for keeping of animals, including dogs, those regulations depend on the development of policies that will have to be approved by Cabinet. In a recent release, he said the current regulations date back to the 19th century and deals mostly with stray dogs. Gas prices will remain unchanged, but motorists should see an increase at the pumps, according to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam. 87.19 octane gasoline will continue to be sold for $130.65 and $133.49 per litre, respectively. Automotive diesel fuel will be sold for $138.87 per litre, following an increase of $1.10, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by 47 cents and will be sold for $142.73 per litre. Meanwhile, kerosene increased in price by $1.10 and will be sold for $116.45 per litre. Propane liquid petroleum will be sold for $41.57 per litre, down by 42 cents, and butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $45.63 per litre, after an increase of 31 cents. Marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markup to these prices. The US dollar on Wednesday, September 25, ended trading at Jamaican $135.34, up by 15 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $102.47, down from Jamaican $103.03, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $166.72, down from $168.33. In regional news, President David Granger has announced March 2, 2020 as the date for fresh regional and general elections, more than a year after his coalition government was defeated in an opposition-inspired motion of no confidence. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, had said last week that it would be prepared to hold the election by February next year, although the main opposition, People's Progressive Party, Civic, had been calling for the polls to be held much earlier. Still in regional news, Dominica's main opposition, United Workers' Party, on Wednesday announced plans for a campaign of civil disobedience in support of electoral reform, as well as getting the relevant authorities to probe allegations that 1.2 billion EC dollars have been missing from the controversial Citizenship by Investment program. UWP and opposition leader Lennox Linton outlined the planned steps.
As the parliamentary opposition, sworn to protect the interests of the Dominican people, we are left with no choice but to proceed with the following actions. Number one, a peaceful gathering on Victoria Street at 3 p.m. on Monday, September 30th, 2019, to present a formal complaint to the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica requesting his intervention. Two, a peaceful gathering outside police headquarters on Bath Road at 3:45 p.m. on Monday, September 30th, 2019, to present a formal complaint to the Commissioner of Police requesting his intervention. Number three, a peaceful gathering on the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard outside of the High Court at 4:30 p.m. on Monday, September 30th, 2019, to present notification of our pursuit of appropriate legal action to have the missing money deposited in the Consolidated Fund of Dominica.
Last month, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, speaking at the launch of a candidate for his ruling Dominica Labour Party, brushed aside the allegations of the missing monies. He said the allegation was intended to damage the reputation of the programs, that foreign authorities would consider imposing sanctions against Dominica's CBI program. And over in the Bahamas, the official death toll for the recent passage of Hurricane Dorian has risen to 54. Health Minister Dwayne Sands says that number is expected to rise once the autopsy and identification process is over.
That there are 2 persons in Grand Bahama who have not been identified and who remain unidentified. All the others have been identified, and once identified and their autopsy and death certificate completed, their remains are turned over and have been turned over to their families. In Abaco, the number is less than that, but I don't have the exact number. What we would like to be able to do is to, using sanitized information, obviously, to protect the identities of those persons and their families, to give the public an understanding of that total number, how many have been identified, how many are left to be identified.
Also, authorities in the Bahamas are reporting that the number of missing persons have fallen to 608, down from over 1,300 initially reported. 692 persons have since been found. And still in the Bahamas, a cleanup operation is ongoing in Grand Bahama, and this after an oil spill caused by the passage of Hurricane Dorian. The Category 5 storm hit the islands on September 1, causing catastrophic damage. We get more in this Eyewitness News report.
Only 252,000 gallons of the estimated 75 million gallons of crude oil spilled in Grand Bahama following the passage of Hurricane Dorian has been cleaned up. This according to Environment Minister Ramal Ferreira. The sheer intensity of the storm unsealed the mega oil containers at the site, spilling oil into the surrounding waters, which eventually seeped into the Abacos. Ferreira telling Eyewitness News today that 200 persons are on site involved in recovery and remediation efforts.
Well, the executive vice president, her words were, "We will clean up the spill." That's a direct quote.
They're not running away from their responsibility.
Ferreira was unable to provide an estimated cost on cleanup efforts thus far. However, he was able to give some insight into the extent of how far the cleanup has extended.
They did extensive aerial reconnaissance along the entire western seaboard of Abaco and of course, Grand Bahama. They saw two areas of interest, but they turned out to be seaweed. They used visuals and infrared technology to do their scopes. On land, we can confirm that one goat and 3 birds were impacted by the spill. There's about 12,000 cubic meters of sludge, and so that itself will be shipped out of the country for final disposal in the United States.
The sludge contaminated 750 cubic yards of soil and rock aggregate. He says that material has been collected, will be treated, and dumped at the Grand Bahama landfill. Now, there is a chemical known as benzene that is being used in the cleanup efforts. According to Ferreira, the substance poses no threat to residents in surrounding areas.
The key is that you have the presence of this fuel on the ground. Benzene will evaporate where the fuel is, so it's not a risk factor outside of the impacted zone.
And when you take a look at the storm's impact on the fisheries and agriculture sector, Minister Michael Pintard, who has responsibility for agriculture and marine resources, confirmed that initial assessments indicate that some $80 million damage has been incurred.
In sports, it's all about football as Waterhouse FC faces a daunting task of advancing to the semifinals of the Scotiabank CONCACAF League after a 2-0 home loss of FC Motagua of Honduras at the National Stadium in Kingston on Wednesday night. The quarterfinal second leg is scheduled for Wednesday, October 2 in Honduras. Also, FIFA has published a technical report from the 2019 Women's World Cup in France, which shows that the Reggae Girls had the most successful clearances at the World Cup with 97. They also topped the statistical chart with a number of inside defensive line breaks. In other sporting news, Sebastian Coe, who took over the reins during a period of turmoil in world athletics, was re-elected by unanimous vote of the 203 delegates attending the International Association of Athletics Federations Congress, just 2 days before the World Athletics Championships opened in Doha. 4 years ago, the IAAF was in chaos as a result of far-reaching corruption allegations. In the weather report, the Meteorological Service of Jamaica has continued a flash flood warning for low-lying and flood-prone areas of Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew, as well as St. Thomas. It has also maintained the flash flood watch for low-lying and flood-prone areas of St. Anne, St. Mary and Portland, effective until 5 p.m. today. A broad trough across Jamaica and the Central Caribbean continues to produce unstable weather conditions across sections of the island. Satellite imagery and rainfall data indicate light to moderate showers have been affecting sections of southern parishes, with the greatest intensity being recorded over south-central parishes. The projections are for periods of showers and thunderstorms, which could be heavy at times, to continue Thursday afternoon into the evening, with the greatest intensity over eastern and central parishes. Flash flooding is therefore likely across sections of southeastern and south-central parishes. A flash flood warning means flooding has been reported or will occur shortly. Motorists and pedestrians should not attempt to cross flooded roadways or other low-lying areas, as strong currents are likely. Residents in low-lying areas should be on the alert for rising waters and be ready to move quickly to higher ground. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.